Thank you for joining today's Q1 2022 State of Naifa. It is my honor to introduce our 2022 National President, Mr. Lawrence J. Holzberg.
Hello, Naifa Nation. I'm honored as your 2022 National President to address you today. My first remark is it is the honor of my career to be elected as president and look out over all that we can accomplish together in 2022. But to note that my start began in 2021, as I was sworn in as president at our inaugural National Leaders Conference held in December in Washington, D.C. First, let me do a brief history lesson. The National Leadership Conference was born out of a desire to create a new event that celebrated the new leadership and the essence of membership of Naifa after our historic restructure of our organization, while honoring the rich 132-year-old history that makes us the original professional association in the financial services space. We began our 2021 Leadership Conference with a historic ribbon cutting with our past national presidents on stage to signify the birth of the new Naifa. While we officially began the new Naifa on January 2019, we plan to celebrate during 2020 our 130th anniversary year. But the pandemic took us off track. Our December meeting was the first time that we could safely join together again to cut the ribbon, signifying the rebirth of our great association that has shed all the negatives and limitations of the past and welcomed in the opportunities of the future. I would like to first and foremost say a personal thank you to all the past presidents, and especially our 2021 immediate past president, Tom Michael, for his passion and sweat equity he has put down before me. Being sworn into the presidency by my good friend Tom was again an honor of a lifetime. But as in the Naifa way, we have work to do. During our National Leadership Conference and Belong Awards event, I swore in a new National Board of Trustees. In front of their peers, this group took the oath of office and pledged to pay it forward and make Naifa a greater success. After the Board of Trustees, we then swore in our 50 state presidents and 30 plus local presidents in office. It is absolutely humbling to have a volunteer base the magnitude of Naifa, and I personally thank you for your service to your clients, your community, and your country. Following our formal swearing-in ceremony, we moved to the best part of Naifa, honoring the great work of our members. We gave away our inaugural Terry Headley Lifetime Defender Award, honoring Bob Roach of Ohio, and given by past President Robert Miller. This is the highest award given to a member for their participation in IFAPAC. We then gave out our John Newton Russell Industry Award winner to Robalyn Abaid. This award is given on behalf of a collection of industry associations to recognize lifetime achievements and give back to the industry. Thank you, Robalyn, and thank you to Emeritus for your continued support of advisors such as Robalyn and the industry. We then turn to our future of the industry. Congratulations to Brian Haney, who was awarded the 2021 Young Advisor Team Leader of the Year, and is a peer-driven review to bestow the highest honor on the person under 40 or less than 5 years in the business that is making a true impact, both production-wise, personally, and professionally in the industry. Brian caps off a decade of Naifa honoring our young talent and encouraging more to come into the financial services industry. This is just one example of how Naifa is leading the way into the future of elevating the best and brightest of Main Street USA. Speaking of Main Street USA, the world is changing, and this is why we developed the Diversity Champion Award many years ago. Along with our cutting-edge work in the DEI space, which we set out doing over 10 years ago, we founded our Diversity Champion to honor a member who's making true strides in serving Main Street America. We couldn't be more proud to honor Chad Cooper as the 2021 Diversity Champion of the Year out of the great state of New Mexico. Our last set of awards is our National 4 Under 40 Awards, given to recognize the up-and-coming rising stars of Naifa. This year was an even harder choice than last year with so many stellar candidates. We are proud to recognize Joanna DeRosa of Naifa Los Angeles and California and Women in Financial Services, Cal Anderson of Naifa Atlanta and Georgia, Rebecca Brown Schulter of Naifa Memphis and Tennessee, and Stephen Walker from Naifa North Dakota. Please read more about them in the upcoming edition of the magazine that focuses on the lifestyle of the advisor, named Advisor Today, and found online at @naifa.org. Speaking of our member benefit magazine, Advisor Today, you will see me on the upcoming edition from our National Leadership Conference, along with all the award winners that we just have mentioned. In the February edition, you'll find a copy of my speech whereby I asked our membership, who do you play for? And I cited the movie Miracle, which documents the 1980 college-based US hockey team that rose to fame by being the Soviet professional team. I gave the speech because it was a landmark event that was long overdue. We voted to change our bylaws in May of 2018, and the new bylaws went into effect January 2019. But we didn't celebrate this to the industry because we had our heads down doing the hard work of modernizing our 128-year-old association. Then came COVID, and our celebration was further delayed. Our 2021 December event in Washington, D.C., whereby we not only crowned our top members of the awards, but also were able to hold 40 Capitol Hill visits, was our first historic celebration when we came together and flexed our muscles as one team. Our National Leadership Conference was the first time we've had together to come in person to celebrate and proclaim that while we are producers that cover a wide range of practice areas, represent a wide range of Americans, at the end of the day, we are one body united in the mission to ensure that Americans have access to Naifa advisors that subscribe to our code of ethics. At the height of my speech, I challenged my leadership to ask, just as in the 1980 gold medal hockey team, who do you play for? And the response resounded through the walls that Naifa is united as one. As your president, I am so proud to be the leader of Naifa, united by truth, integrity, and faith in the American people. We now go into 2022, united as one. I can confidently say on behalf of over 1,000 volunteer leaders in our ranks that we are Naifa Nation. Now, I would like to turn it over to our CEO, who oversees our professional staff, Kevin Mayhew.
Thank you, Mr. President, and welcome, Naifa Nation. It's good to see you all here today for our Q1 2022 State of Naifa webinar. You know, Q1 is actually, this is the second year, 2022, of our 5-year strategic plan, Naifa 2025. And we've talked about this plan a lot, but just to reiterate, the 2025 plan really focuses on 3 core areas: brand amplification, growing our membership, and enhancing our membership experience. And we continue to work our strategic plan and make progress on it year by year. And what we do each year is we create an annual business implementation plan that outlines to you, our key stakeholders, and to the general public, the work that Naifa is going to do throughout the year ahead. Our 2022 business implementation plan is out, it is published, and is available for your review anytime you want to via our website at www.naifa.org/2025. You can also, by the way, download a copy of the full strategic plan in addition to the work that we did implementing the plan last year and this year. Highlights of this year's plan and what we're going to be working on include an increased focus on young advisors, expanding our DEI initiatives to increase awareness of the value that Naifa brings to financial services professionals all across this country, on every main street in America, and in every community across this great land. And also increasing participation in our grassroots program through expanded training and increased opportunities for Naifa members to engage at the state and federal levels to ensure that our legislators and our regulators understand the impacts of policies that they have under consideration and how those impact the financial security of individuals, families, and small businesses all across this country, the very individuals and small businesses that you, Naifa members, serve every single day. Our 2022 business implementation plan also includes work to draw together all of our chapters, working together as one unified Naifa Nation. Local and state chapters and the national all working hand to hand to deliver a high quality membership experience from coast to coast and in every community across our great country. In 2022, many of our chapters are going back to in-person meetings and events, and we are seeing more people return to network with each other, to learn from each other, and to grow as professionals. That's what a professional association does for its members, and that's what Naifa has been doing for our members since 1890. We will continue to create more unity events through our professional association, and we will work with other partners in the industry, such as Life Happens, Women in Insurance and Financial Services, and the Society of Financial Services Professionals, in addition to ACLI and many other trade groups, to get good things done for the profession and the industry, and more importantly, the 90 million American families that you serve every single day. Finally, as always, Naifa promises and delivers by being transparent. Each quarter, we publish our quarterly enterprise dashboard that we send out to our members, our leaders, and our key stakeholders, showing them the work that we have done as we continue to implement the NAIFA 2025 strategic plan. It's again our way of being transparent. The Q4 2021 dashboard has been published this week and is available for all of our leaders to review to see the work that got done, the progress we continue to make in implementing our strategic plan. You know, now we're in the 4th year since we voted to restructure this association, and we are really hitting our stride. And we're making progress the hard way, the honest way, the Naifa way, by rolling up our sleeves, by getting good things done, and by pulling together as a united profession, advancing this industry and the work that we do for every American from coast to coast. And many companies and other organizations are recognizing the great strength that we have in the Naifa Nation. And they have chosen to partner with us and become partners with us in this journey as we continue to take on the challenges that lie ahead on the legislative and regulatory fronts and find new ways to serve every American across this great country. 2022 also brings back somewhat of a return to normalcy, at least we're hoping, as COVID begins to subside a bit and people begin to figure out ways to deal with the virus. And that means, again, that we're going back to more and more in-person activities. One that I'd like to highlight is our DEI Symposium, which is coming back to be an in-person event this year. Now, DEI, many organizations talk about it, but Naifa lives it. Not only has it been part of our last 2 strategic plans, but this year will be the 7th year that we have hosted our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Symposium, which brings together great thought leaders throughout the entire industry. This year, we're going to focus on providing all advisors with the tools and the resources that they need to best serve a rapidly changing Main Street American population. The DEI Symposium comes as a result of the great hard work from our Talent Development Center. And to find out more information about this and to register, you see the information on your page, but again, TDC, Talent Development Center, tdc.naifa.org/2022. And speaking of our centers of excellence continue to grow as members come forward and request that Naifa provide thought leadership and an opportunity or a platform for people in different niches and in different areas to better share their ideas with each other. So again, we can grow stronger together as professionals. In addition to the Talent Development Center, our Limited and Extended Care Planning Center covers all things related to long-term care. By the way, during the course of the pandemic, this center has been a tremendous resource to our elected officials, both at the federal level in Congress, as well as state legislators as they have dealt with COVID. Our Business Performance Center covers topics in term and agency management and a new program that we've developed for managers across this country that we're calling RISE. More information will be available for that very shortly, but keep an eye out to the work that we're doing to help our general agents and managers with our RISE program. And we have our Advanced Practices Center, which is an initiative that we do jointly with FSP. Great opportunity for people in the advanced practice space to come home to Naifa to learn from us and FSP, our partners in the Advanced Practice Center. And this year we have a new center that is launching called the Employee Benefits Center. I want to thank all of our Naifa members who have chosen to volunteer on the advisory boards for each of these centers. And we look forward to sharing you more information as they continue to develop more content and post it online throughout the entire year. And that latest one, the Employee Benefits Center, will have more information that we'll unveil about that this quarter. Our centers have been a great way for our members to get further involved by writing, by speaking, by reaching out, by sharing their expertise. And that's really, again, what a professional network and a professional association does for its members. Naifa members, as you all know, agree to a code of ethics, and we do business the Naifa way, the right way, the honest way. In 2020 and 2021, we held many of these events as virtual weeks, but in 2022, I'm happy to announce that we're planning to take the show on the road and have live and in-person events for our centers in Phoenix, in Indianapolis, and in Philadelphia. Those plans are right now just being solidified, and we're going to be making a series of announcements throughout the weeks ahead to let you know when this road show will be in your area. And hopefully you'll have a chance to join us and encourage your colleagues to do so. That's another way that we can share knowledge, build on each other's strength, and tighten our network as one Naifa community and one Naifa family. And those are just some of the benefits of being members of our association. In addition, we have reinvented our annual professional development conference. At one point, it was called the Sales Conference. At one point, it was the annual meeting. And for the past few years, it's been Performance Plus Purpose. But now our premier professional development event has changed entirely. And it is a professional development, basically a sales summit for the American advisor, and it's called Apex. Apex is going to be held this August. You see the information on your screen at the beautiful Arizona Biltmore in Phoenix, Arizona. This will be the premier professional development event for the industry. We hope you'll join us for Apex coming out in August. More information again available is on our website. Please check it out. Please join us for this premier event. And if you can believe it, this is the 4th year of our Naifa Live program, which is a monthly live stream event that's available only to Naifa members. And it brings in a top speaker to help inspire us to better protect more of Main Street USA. We've been delighted to see that January saw a return to a hybrid model, where some folks watch Naifa Live through their home or at their office via their computer, but also some of our chapters also had face-to-face gatherings where they watched the event together, they shared their own thoughts and ideas, and again, got to enjoy the camaraderie of being with friends in their community, fellow Naifa members watching the event. Great job done by our colleagues in Naifa, Alaska, Naifa, Iowa, and Naifa, New Mexico for doing live events in conjunction with Naifa Live in January. We look forward to seeing everybody on February 17th at 2 p.m. Eastern for a very special edition of Naifa Live as we celebrate I Love Naifa Month. And we're going to hear from Peak Performance Hall of Fame speaker Ross Bernstein. It'll be a great event on February 17th, 2 p.m. Eastern. Please join us for that event. And now to talk about some more great activities, including another live return from gathering at the U.S. Capitol, is our tremendous Senior Vice President for Government Relations. Diane, let's pass it over to you. Diane Boyle.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Happy to join, and some of figuring out what we're going to do in Q1 means taking a little look back. So let's look at our 2021 wins, because that sort of establishes benchmark of what we need to be doing in 2022. And what we saw, and I'm just going to pull out a couple, but you have on the screen a list of some of the calendar big wins over 2021. But the Build Back Better plan, and I know, or Build Back Better, and it was a reconciliation plan. You've heard all about it. It stalled in the Senate. But what passed the House actually had a number of wins for Naifa. And often what our wins are is what's not included more than what's actually included. What wasn't included but was talked about were initiatives that would have negatively impacted 199A deduction. It would have imposed new taxes on unrealized capital gains. There were alterations to the state tax. There were changes to grantor trust. None of that was included in the House version. So we had those wins as we sent it over to the Senate. BBB stalls out in the Senate. You've heard Senator Manchin, Senator Sinema say, not something that we can support, kind of died down. Now the conversations are coming back. How are they going to pull it together? There have been conversations where some people have said, we need to separate it out and just take it in smaller bites. But what they don't recognize, in Speaker Pelosi, who has a keen sense of how things operate, is that it, as a reconciliation bill, and that's what allows it to pass with a simple majority, has rules around it. You can't break it off into these little pieces. It has to be part of that package. So the package has to change. Senator Manchin, who was part of the reason why the breakdown in the discussions on the first round kind of collapsed, says he's willing to come back and talk about that, but we need to see what he's going to put together. And as we watch that, we need to look for some of the same challenges. We don't feel like the tax challenges that we faced early on are going to come back, but it's something that we need to be really need to pay keen attention to. Sorry about that. I have other things beeping at me. Another issue that was really instrumental for Naifa last year was on the independent contractor rules, the PRO Act. And that was something that had passed the House, and in the Senate, we pulled it back. We utilized, and this is what's really important about how Naifa operates our advocacy program, is because we're so active at both the state and the federal level and the interstate level, we use all of that in our strategic planning. So we saw in California where they dealt with a PRO Act on their own and were able to tap into what was successful in California and apply it and utilize that with Congress in order to explain that how our industry operates. We surveyed our members. We know that a number of NAIFA members choose this profession because they want to be their own boss. It's part of the reason why you come into the industry, and that you don't want to be deemed an employee, that you want to maintain that independent contractor status. We're also seeing that it's coming back. So there's going to be Department of Labor that takes a look at it, and there are initiatives that we're involved in there. The National Labor Relations Board has some inquiries out that we're going to talk a little bit more about as the year gets underway. We also have in the states, we saw some really big successes. We saw New Jersey walk back from a fiduciary only proposal, only to see Nevada sort of run back towards it and say, no, we're going to want to take another look, which really brings us to here where we're talking about retirement protections. And 19 states have followed. NAIFA was very involved in the NAIC model legislation that the states are beginning to adopt now. And you heard me talk last year, if we had 12, we were on the right path. We got to 19, we have a dozen other states that are still looking at putting this into place. So we're making some real headway on making sure that we have consumer protections in place that don't limit options and don't limit access to NAIFA members working with their primarily middle-class clients and investors. The high net worth folks are going to find those protections and access. What we want to make sure is that everybody has access. Something that we've been working on. What you'll also find is that those of you that live in those 19 states that have adopted the NAIC model, you should have had a request to engage. And we're talking to the Department of Labor, because what we want to do is say, look at these 19 states that have sort of gotten it right. This is where we need to be. There really isn't a need for the DOL to put in and layer on additional regulations or to change or to put in place a fiduciary only option that really would push out access for those middle income investors. And we don't want to see that happening. Those are the people that need the information perhaps the most. And so there's a lot that's going on in our level, both at the state, to make sure that the states that haven't adopted this model are looking at it and trying to get it put into place. We're working with the regulators to make sure that they understand the negative harm that could come to investors if they were to go to a fiduciary only model. So that's something that we're working on. If you look at the states, as we talk about states looking to adopt things, a number of our state chapters are having their state days on the Hill. Most of them are happening within the next couple of months. Check with your chapter, find out if your state chapter is holding their legislative day. And if they are, participate. It really matters. It's that developing that relationship. The lawmakers are looking to you. They want to hear from real people. They might need your state lobbyists. They might need the federal lobbyists here in DC to help them with some of the language. But what they really need is your insight working with consumers. That's something they don't have, and it's something that only you can provide. And that's where we talk about the power of you, the power of us, because we take each of you individually with your stories and collectively bring them together to really develop good policy. So make sure that you're checking and participating in those state legislative days. They're looking for that trusted voice, which brings us right to the trusted voice. The Committee on Aging did a survey and put together a report on senior citizens who need access to financial information and financial literacy. And Naifa was quoted. This is where developing that trusted voice really comes in. You start seeing where the committees and the lawmakers are turning to us and saying, hey, what does Naifa think? What does Naifa think? And Naifa was included in this study, which you can read about and learn why it's so important to have that trusted resource. And many times, certainly when folks are retiring, is when they need that trusted guidance that a Naifa member provides. So we're super excited to be included in the Aging Committee. Look forward to taking the report into the next step and finding out what we can do to further increase financial literacy within all markets, but particularly in the aging, when we're talking about the Aging Committee. Which brings us to the Congressional Conference. So not only do I want you to participate in your state legislative days, I want you to mark your calendar, and registration is open today. Go register for the Congressional Conference. As Kevin said, we're back in person, we're having meetings. Some of the offices are a little dicey, I'm going to be honest with you. Not all of them are going to be open. There's restrictions, both because of the pandemic, as well as for some of the security issues. I think that Capitol Hill Police Force is down 500 officers. They're looking at how they can secure the Capitol and open it back up. They are taking meetings, as I think it was Larry that said we had 40 in-person meetings in December as part of the NLC. So we expect that we're going to have meetings. Might be different than what you've experienced before, but we also have other activities where we're going to identify insurance-related sites of significance for you to participate into if your legislator isn't having in-person meetings. So everyone should register, everyone should join. We're looking forward to welcoming you back to DC. And before we get to May, we actually just had, and speaking of that trusted voice, CMS reached out and said they're pulling together a roundtable for agents and brokers, and they're looking to Naifa to make recommendations for individual. I do believe, and I apologize because I just got the notice, I believe it'll be virtual again. At one point they did do in-person roundtables. That was a few years ago. I think they've shifted to virtual and will probably stay virtual this year as well. But on March 9th, CMS is looking to have a roundtable. So those of you that are involved in the health arena and health insurance and would like to visit with CMS and talk about the federally facilitated marketplaces, how that's going, what improvements can be made, what challenges you're facing, reach out to me and let me know that you would be interested, and we'll put forth some recommendations for you to participate in that roundtable on March 9th with CMS officials. You can reach out to me, dboyle@naifa.org, and register for the Congressional Conference. Larry, with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you and look forward to seeing everyone in May.
Thank you so much, Diane and Kevin. Wow, we are off to a fast start and only working harder and moving faster. And it's great to see everybody in person in DC, and look forward to seeing everybody in Congressional Conference. I think the message you take away is what we're doing and how we're operating as this organization. Naifa is expanding this industry. We're expanding it for financial advisors. We're expanding it with our partnerships. We're expanding it to make sure we serve the underserved markets, because that's what we do as Naifa advisors. I said when I started my talk today that the honor of my lifetime was serving as president of this organization. I will tell you the greatest day of my career was when I joined this organization over 30 years ago, because it set me on the road of being a quality financial advisor. This is our association. Only together we can take on everything. I look forward to working with everyone, being there with everyone, and all of us together moving this industry and association forward in 2022. Have a great rest of the first quarter. See everyone soon.